Hey guys, and welcome back to Eileen's World. I spent 1 week in Bali and I'm back here to share my tips and some of the mistakes that I made to help you plan and make the most of your trip to Bali. In this video, I'll be covering the basics like arriving into Bali, the best ways to get around, where to stay or not to stay, and my tips on staying connected, money, food, and whatever other useful bits that come to my mind. So if you plan on visiting Bali soon, then this video is for you. We flew into Denpasar International Airport, which is Bali's main airport and located near Kuta. Proof of vaccination is no longer required, and most international visitors will need a visitor visa to enter. You can apply for a visa online 14 days before your trip or purchase a visa upon arrival. I decided to get my visa upon arrival, and from my experience, it was quick, easy, and hassle-free. The visa is 500,000 rupiah, or around $34 US. They accept multiple currencies, and change will be given back to you in Indonesian rupiah. Credit card is also accepted, but there will be a small surcharge. Alright, so you made it through border control, you have your luggage, now what? If you don't have someone picking you up or a car rented, using the rideshare app Grab will be the best option. Grab is the most popular ride-sharing company in Indonesia and is the official app-based transport company for Bali Airport. You will have many people outside offering rides, and using Grab will be the best way to avoid the hassle and anxiety of potentially getting overcharged. With that said, there are some local restrictions around the areas that Grab can pick up passengers, and you may need to walk further out to get one. On our last day in Bali, when we needed a ride from Sanur Harbor to the airport, we were not able to get a Grab close enough to the harbor and had to use one of the taxis outside since we didn't want to walk further than needed with all of our luggage. Many points of interest in Bali are spread apart. While the distance from place to place may not seem too far, it becomes time-consuming when you combine it with the traffic and narrow roads. The roads are extremely busy and chaotic, especially in the Kuta and Seminyak area. And as you make your way out of the city, the roads can get really narrow as well. Many locals get around with motorbike, and you'll see plenty of tourists doing so as well. Many places will offer bike rentals, so it will be very easy to get a hold of one. We are definitely more risk adverse and heard of way too many stories about tourists with motorbikes, so this was a hard pass for us. If you're an experienced motorbike driver though, this could be a cost-effective and efficient way to get around. Just make sure you're following the rules and you're wearing a helmet and always wearing a shirt. Renting a car was an option that we were advised against, but guess what? We did it anyway, for science of course, and live to tell the story. Since we were staying in Kuta for the week, we wanted a car to get around and explore at our own pace. We rented a car from car.com for $27 a day, and I didn't do any of the driving, but it was still super stressful to watch my husband drive, and I may or may not have been white-knuckling it the whole time. While we had the luxury of going at our own pace, we wouldn't do it again and wouldn't recommend this option. However, if you do decide to rent a car, here are some of my tips. 1, make sure you have an international driver's permit. 2, keep in mind that drivers drive on the left side of the road in Indonesia. 3, you can use Google Maps for navigation. 4, in a situation where a corrupt police officer tries to stop you for no reason, we were advised by our car rental contact to tell them that we were journalists from another country and we knew what they were trying to do, and he just suggested paying a small fine of 75,000 rupiah, around $5, for them to leave us alone. Luckily, we didn't encounter this. 5, fuel is inexpensive, but again, we were warned to keep an eye out on the meter and make sure the petrol attendant wasn't overcharging us. And if you do plan on driving yourself in a car or a motorbike, most places will have a designated parking lot and attendee. This was a pleasant surprise for me and made the driving experience a tad better. And if you don't feel like driving yourself in a car or using a motorbike, I highly recommend hiring a driver for the day and enjoy being a passenger princess instead of a stressed out wife. If we ever go back to Bali, we will definitely hire a driver. If you plan on island hopping to the Gili Islands or Nusa Penida, fast ferry boats are available from different ports and with multiple departure times daily. Last but not least, when you're walking around, please be careful. The sidewalks can be uneven and you don't want to fall into a pothole. Many streets don't have a proper crosswalk as well, so make sure you're crossing with caution. Like I mentioned earlier, all the places you probably want to see and visit in Bali are spread apart, so where you're going to stay is key. I found the prices for accommodation in Bali to be relatively inexpensive. From hostels to luxury resorts, Bali has it all at every price point and budget. Some of the most popular places to stay in Bali are Seminyak, Kuta, Ubud, Canggu, and Nusa Dua. There are many videos on YouTube that deep dive into all of these different areas, so check those out to see which vibe fits what you're looking for. We stayed in Kuta for the week, and despite what the internet says and recommendations from our own friends and its proximity to Seminyak, I really regret staying here. I do not understand the hype. It was too hectic, and we spent most of our week in Bali finding a way to get outside of Kuta. While I personally wouldn't stay here again, there are some positive points to consider. It's close to the airport, There's plenty of shopping options and a couple Western style malls. There's lots of dining options. And even though my party days are long gone, there's still a lot of nightlife here. As for the negatives, it's busy, it's noisy, it's not pretty, and I personally did not enjoy Seminyak Beach. If you do plan on staying in Kuta or Seminyak, I suggest picking a beach-facing accommodation and not an Airbnb off the main road like we did. You can also consider splitting your stay in Bali, and if we were to do it again, I would spend half my trip in Ubud and the other half in Nusa Dua. During my last day of traveling, using an eSIM has been the most convenient option for me. If you have a phone with eSIM capabilities, you won't need to buy a SIM card upon arrival, and there's no physical card to switch out. When I run out of data, I can easily top up my phone. And depending on my destination and length of stay, I look at different eSIM providers to see which one has the best package. For Indonesia, I used Air Alo, and if you want $3 off your first purchase, then you can use my code on the screen. Indonesian rupiah as a currency and cash, especially in smaller denominations, will be necessary for entrance and parking fees, smaller restaurants and shops, and any tours or transportation you may book in person. Money changers and ATMs can be easily found around popular tourist areas, and I recommend checking a few different shops to find the best rate. Credit card is also accepted in, again, a lot of tourist areas, and this includes restaurants, shops, and convenience stores. When it comes to dining, tipping is not mandatory in Bali. Some restaurants will automatically add a 5% service charge to your final bill, and if you book a tour, drive, or any beauty treatments, you can tip depending on how satisfied you were with the service. Indonesian is the official language, and English is widely spoken throughout Bali, especially in areas catered for tourists. While we didn't have to bust out our Google Translator at any point, it's always good to know a few basics like hello or good morning, which is selamat pagi, or thank you, which is terima kasih. The Indonesian people have been the friendliest bunch that I have met during my last year of travel, and that's through like 20 plus countries. They're always smiling and willing to help. Food in Bali can be extremely affordable, and even a dish at a high-end hotel will cost no more than $15. There's of course fast food and Western options available, but the best and most affordable options that I found were at the warangs, which are small family-run cafes or eateries. You may have heard of Bali Belly, and if you haven't, it's basically traveler's diarrhea. A quick Google search will give you some tips on how to avoid it, but here's what I want to share. If it isn't obvious, avoid drinking water from the tap. We used tap water from my Airbnb to brush our teeth, to shower, and to wash our dishes and didn't have any issues. And I wish I could tell you that I avoided Bali Belly by being super cautious, but the truth is, I ate whatever I wanted. I had tons of pre-cut fruit, and I also had plenty of drinks and smoothies with ice. I only had an iced dessert from a street vendor once, but I ate at plenty of warangs and Western-style restaurants. So what I suggest is use your best judgment. If a street vendor or restaurant doesn't meet your sanitary needs, then there are plenty of other dining options for you to choose from. So that wraps up all of my tips and learnings from my trip to Bali. I hope this was helpful enough for you to kind of plan for your trip and make your trip go smoother. If you have any questions regarding your trip, please let me know down in the comments below. I have a Bali travel guide and vlog coming soon, so make sure you're subscribed. Terima kasih for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next video.